You stand at the precipice of unimaginable financial freedom, of abundance so vast it defies the limiting beliefs of your present world. Yet the question, the agonizing, relentless question, persists. Why do the millions remain just beyond your grasp? Why does manifestation, often touted as a simple act of thought, feel like a relentless struggle, a constant act of yearning and chasing? The answer, the single definitive answer, according to the teachings of Neville Goddard, is both simple and profoundly unsettling. You are focusing on the wrong feeling. You have been fundamentally misled by the common superficial teachings of desire and positive thinking. Many contemporary spiritual gurus and motivational speakers emphasize the need to generate intense, fleeting excitement, loud, forced gratitude, or overwhelming euphoria to attract great wealth. Neville taught us, however, to see these feelings as transient, as mere waves on the surface of a deep, silent ocean. They are the effects of the fulfilled desire, not the cause of its creation. Your current financial reality, the state of your bank accounts, your perceived lack of millions, all of it is not a cosmic punishment or a random twist of fate. It is the perfect, honest, and inevitable reflection of the inner state you currently occupy. Your lack is simply an assumption, a premise about your identity that has been allowed to harden and crystallize into physical fact. The world, being nothing more than a mirror, has simply given you exactly what you have, silently, continuously, and repeatedly assumed to be true about yourself, your worth, and your relationship with money. This realization is the true starting point of wealth creation. It confirms that you are not powerless. You are in fact the creative power itself, but you are simply misdirecting that power through false assumptions. In this powerful, extended lecture, which we encourage you to listen to entirely without interruption, we will methodically dissect the single, non-negotiable feeling that Neville Goddard insisted you must master. It is not complex, but it demands an unwavering commitment. Once this singular feeling is mastered and made natural, the millions you desire cease to be a hope and instantly become an inevitable, natural consequence of your assumed state. The millionaire mind is not anxious. It is not desperate. It is simply settled. What then is this one ultimate feeling that transcends temporary happiness or fleeting excitement? It is the state of mind, the inner spiritual condition, which Neville Goddard referred to as naturalness. This feeling is the very core of the wish fulfilled, but its true essence is captured in the word certainty. When you know your name, do you perform a ritual? When you know that tomorrow's sun will rise, do you desperately plead for its appearance? Number. You simply are certain. You possess an unshakable conviction that these facts are normal, self-evident, and utterly non-negotiable. This state of normalcy, this sense of a done deal, is the signature of mastery in the world of conscious creation. The genuinely secure millionaire does not spend their time generating artificial excitement about their wealth. They feel normal about it. The money is simply a part of their existence, no more surprising than the ability to breathe. Their wealth is not an anomaly. It is their assumed, accepted, natural state. To manifest millions, you must successfully cultivate this identical attitude toward wealth, one of calm, profound, and undeniable certainty. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is therefore a state of deep, quiet relief, a silent, settled feeling that the search is over. If you were a millionaire right now, Your primary, foundational feeling would not be one of ecstasy, but rather one of profound, effortless declaration. It is finished. It is done. This feeling of inevitability is the specific frequency you must achieve, that coherent, steady 77 MHz state of perfect internal resonance. It is the silent, internal assumption that automatically compels the visible, external world to rearrange itself with precision to reflect your inner fact. You are no longer striving for wealth. You are simply expressing the wealth you already are. This profound recognition shifts the entire dynamic of manifestation from struggling to having. The mastery is not found in the volume of your positive thinking, but in the peaceful, non-reactive naturalness of your desired outcome. When your wealth becomes natural, the external lack becomes the unnatural exception, which the universe must quickly correct. This realization must be felt in the soul, not just acknowledged by the mind. The most powerful practical tool Neville Goddard provided to instill this feeling of naturalness and certainty is the S.A.T.S state, akin to sleep technique. However, as we have touched upon, most practitioners make S.A.T.S into a ritual of seeking rather than an act of creation, which sabotages the entire process. The true and sole purpose of S.A.T.S is to gently bypass the rational, limiting arguments of the conscious mind and impress the undeniable feeling of certainty onto the subconscious. The error lies in focusing too much on the scene itself, the visual details, and not enough on the emotional quality of the aftermath. You must use the scene exclusively as a vehicle to generate the feeling of effortless naturalness. Let us detail the precise three-step S.A.T.S process for achieving financial inevitability. Step 1. The single, final act. Your imagined scene must be short, emotionally resonant, and must, without exception, take place after the millions have been deposited or secured. Do not imagine the phone call that brings the money. Imagine the simple, quiet act that confirms the money is already there. For example, the profound sense of release as you delete the debt folder from your computer, or the calm act of signing a massive check for charity, knowing you have countless more funds. Step 2. The loop of naturalness. As you drift into the hypnagogic state, that blissful, sleepy, body-heavy sensation, repeat this short scene continuously. This repetition must be performed not as a desperate plea for reality, but as a calm, repetitive memory. Do not inject anxiety or emotional drama. Inject only the quiet, soothing feeling of relief and normalcy. Step 3. The completion signal. This is the critical juncture of the technique. The moment you feel the internal shift, when the conviction moves from "I am trying to believe this" to the profound, deep, quiet relief of "it is finished." This is just a settled memory. You have successfully impressed the subconscious. You stop the scene immediately. You do not continue. You have struck gold. The work is complete. You fall asleep in that state of certainty, knowing the creative state has accepted the command. This simple process converts desire into unshakable knowledge, and knowledge requires no further effort or doubt. Once you have attained and fallen asleep in that settled feeling of financial certainty within S.A.T.S, your creative job in the non-physical world is done. Automatically, instantaneously, the universal consciousness begins to construct the bridge of incidents. These are the seemingly random, yet perfectly necessary sequences of events, people, and opportunities that will materialize the millions into your three-dimensional world. This intervening period, the wait between the inner impression and the outer manifestation, is the supreme test of your certainty. It is here, in the world of external appearances, that the vast majority of practitioners fail and revert to the old state of lack. The world, being old consciousness externalized, will present you with challenges specifically designed to pull you back to your old state of poverty consciousness. An unexpected, major expense, a promising investment that turned sour. These are not obstacles placed by the universe to block you. They are merely shadows of the past, illusions designed to gauge the sincerity of your new assumption. Neville taught that the truly wealthy man, the man living in the creative state, is defined by his non-reaction to these tests. The correct response is not to panic, not to furiously affirm, but to simply return to the feeling of certainty. Your commitment is not to the fluctuating external circumstances, but to the unwavering internal state of being. Any internal fluctuation, any worry about how the money will appear, is merely an indication that you have briefly reverted to the old, impoverished assumption. Immediately, gently, but with absolute firmness, redirect your internal state. Whisper to yourself the feeling, I am safe, I am abundant, it is done. This internal correction, this return to the naturalness of your wealth, is the only required non-physical effort during the day. You must be so convinced that your financial reality has already changed that you can go about your life with a calm, even bored indifference to the current facts of your old world. This indifference is the signature of true certainty that forces the millions to materialize. The final non-negotiable discipline is persistence in the assumption. This is the subtle art of maintaining the feeling of naturalness and inevitability, not just during your dedicated S.A.T.S time, but throughout the entirety of your waking day. It is the ultimate measure of your self-mastery and the key to sustained, effortless wealth. When the old thoughts of financial lack creep in, do not engage in a battle. Neville explicitly stated, do not fight them. Simply acknowledge them as fading echoes of a state you no longer inhabit, and gently, firmly, and persistently return to the settled feeling of your millions already being accounted for. This consistent, faithful return to the feeling of certainty builds an unstoppable momentum in the subconscious mind, a creative force that cannot be diverted or stopped. When you achieve this consistent, settled, and calm state, the ultimate creative state of 77 megahertz, the external world absolutely must yield. Neville's ultimate promise is that the millions will arrive through channels that seem entirely natural, logical, and unforced. There will be no dramatic, chaotic miracle, but rather a gentle, peaceful, and logical unfolding. You will experience a deep sense of peace and realization that the abundance was always within you, waiting for your certainty to call it forth. The final and most profound signal of success is this. When the feeling of wealth becomes perfectly natural and normal, you will stop frantically checking your bank accounts. You will stop searching for new manifestation techniques. You will simply know. That quiet, powerful knowing is the signal that your internal creative state has perfectly mirrored the millions into your physical reality. You are not waiting for God. You are the God of your reality, and your imagination is the sole creative force. Go now. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Live in the state of naturalness, and let the world reflect your mastery. If this message resonated with the deep power within you, signal your agreement by liking this video and subscribe to Neville Goddard, The Creative State, to continue your journey of divine self-discovery. Thank you for watching.